everybody on. When I'm at the top, I don't wanna be alone. And if I'm on 1, then we on 10. Let the KTF dynasty begin.
I can see it now, going from a hard ass grind to a brand new sound. Got my squad by my side, can't nothing in this world bring us down. Can't wait till we walk up on the grand stage, giving my accept speech, hop on the private jet, head to a private beach. KTF ain't waiting on nobody, looking on nobody, we built like an arm. We don't chase, we don't bail, we just grind for our daily bread. Sure that our families are safe.
I never heard you on singing or rapping.
Hey!
That's the first
That
time.
was us, right?
That was all. And it sucks because we playing hella old stuff, but a lot of stuff that we've been working on, you know, we don't have permission to release it and play it and stuff like that. So I don't want nobody sitting here looking like, oh, that stuff's so old. That's all they've been doing. They ain't been doing nothing, you know. But that's just the politics of this whole music thing, is that we have to sit on so much great music.
Be for real.
Okay, all right. Well, my name is Joy Wynn, and I am the engineer and producer of KTF Music.
And being the engineer producer, what is your job mainly?
Being an engineer and a producer, that means when you come into the studio and you see all this outboard gear and this big board behind me, minus all the stuff that's on it, basically I'm controlling the flow of the session, making sure that all the levels are right, the microphones are set up properly, making sure that the sound is being captured correctly as an engineer. And as a producer, when I'm wearing that hat, it varies, whether it's creating the music behind the song or actually producing the session, making sure that I'm capturing the best takes that the artist can give, pretty much. So that's about it.
All right, my name is Jonathan, aka J Jax. I am the songwriter for KTF. I basically write all the hits that you hear from us. Being a songwriter is not as easy as you think. You have to take what's up here, put it on paper, and make it translate across the music. So I just take the simplest idea and make it become the music that you hear on the radio.
Go ahead, Riley.
All right. I am the creative director of KTF Music, also the vocal coach, and I do vocal production as well. My role is to basically come up with ideas along with Joy. She comes up with a lot of other ideas, but the creative things that we could do as KTF, you know, to expand our brand, to do things with the different artists that we work with. In the studio, I do a lot of vocal production. I help out with, you know, if you can't get that part just right, you know, I help coach you through it to get to that part. And when John is writing, I'll put different melodies to different songs. So basically, you know, we have Joy does production, John will write, and then I'll get the melody onto it, and then you got some fire from KTF. And what was your second question?
The obstacles.
Oh, Lord, I don't even want to.
I think our biggest obstacle has been getting the synergy right with the group and basically cutting away a lot of stuff, a lot of the excess that we didn't need, and getting the most simplified version of what we are now, because this is the way that it works the best. So I think that was probably the biggest obstacle, was finding that balance.
And the triumph?
Oh, man. I would say basically just the knowledge of our brand. We're starting to get out there. A lot of people are starting to want to come record with us. We have like great success stories from some of our artists that we worked with. We've came out with numerous EPs, mixtapes, you know, different singles that are now on iTunes and different things like that. So it's just started as a dream, and now we just see it, you know, starting to be fulfilled.
When all of you guys are here together in the studio, like today, what's a typical session like?
Well, we'll start off with a beat, basically.
We'll start off with some jokes that lead to a song topic, probably.
True. Yeah, that is true. And then we'll either find a beat that I did or our other producer, Henny Brown, did. And we'll just loop a hook and try to come up with something. Think about who can we hear singing this, and we just go from there. We come up with the lyrics, a melody, and we go from there. It's fun. Really
Very
fun.
A great time.
Yeah.
For each of you, what's something about your profession that people maybe misunderstand or take for granted?
I'll start.
Go ahead.
I'll start. I'm just saying.
The thing that people take for granted is that our professions are real. A lot of people think it's just like a hobby, or it's just something we like to do, or something to have fun with. But, you know, these are money makers for us. All of us have made money in our field, you know, so we're able to pay our bills. I know for a fact, for me, you know, at the time, it was like performing and singing and doing backgrounds for people. That supplies my money to pay my bills, you know, so that's for me. People think it's a joke.
Also, I think people think that anybody can do it. They think that just because you sit in your basement and you twiddle your fingers around and you can record yourself sounding like Chief Keef, that now you're an artist or you're a producer or you're a writer, and they don't understand how much work actually goes into it, because at the end of the day, it's a profession, it is a craft, it's something that you have to study and that you have to take seriously if you want to get good at it. And I think that's the biggest problem, is we have so many people in the industry now just like, oh, I can write a song or I can make a beat, and they don't know the craft at all. So I think that's probably one of the biggest misconceptions.
Just to piggyback off of what Jonathan said, being a producer and a beat maker are two completely different things. And that's what I feel like a lot of people miss. You know, some producers in that light make beats, and that's just simple, like you put a hi-hat with a kick drum and a snare, sometimes a crash, a bass line, some synths.
That made no sense to me. You just spoke a whole nother language.
And you make a beat, and then you send that off to an artist. That's a beat maker. So a producer takes that beat, works with the artist, or creates the beat, gets the artist in the studio, coaches the artist, makes the artist, they pull out that performance from the artist, and they're actually in the session producing the session with the artist. And it's sometimes, like, one thing that we often tell artists, if you come in here and you want to sing about pain, and you want to sing about struggle, you have to go there. You have to get in that mindset where that pain happened, where that struggle was going on, and as a producer, that's what you do. You know, the beat maker, you made the beat. So I think a lot of times people misunderstand and confuse beat maker versus producer. And then engineers, people think that just because you have an inbox, you got Pro Tools or Sonar or Cakewalk and Logic, that you know how to raise a fader and drop a fader, that you're an engineer. And that's not really how it works. Like, do you understand why when you hit that fader and it goes up, why the volume goes up? How many dB did it just go up? Stuff like that, you know, I mean, I feel very passionately about that topic, but it takes more than just what you see people do to be what they are.
So all of us in this room have went to school in some shape or form for our profession, but what's one thing you learned that school did not teach you?
I don't think school taught us the reality of the situation when it comes to the music industry. And I can say that for myself, school, I have a degree in audio arts and acoustics. So school didn't teach me how to deal with a client that is unbearable to work with. Or school, that's such a hard, it's kind of a hard question. Yeah, that's a hard question. I mean, because you could go to school for so much, though. Like, but you can't. It's like it's natural. A lot of what we do is what we feel it naturally. I don't think you can go to school to be a a session producer. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you have to have a personality.
Right.
You have to be able to work with different personalities. That's what school doesn't teach you. They teach you how to kind of just get by and in your, you know, specific fields and whatnot. But what do you think?
I don't know, that is a hard question.
That's a hard question.
I think really because school is so based in moving from one project to the next project to the next project, and they don't ever teach you about what goes on in between and how you string that all together, because while they're giving you instructions and direction, you have to get out here and you have to create your own projects, and you have to go from point A to point B to point C without somebody there holding your hand. And I think for arts institutions, while you know they do kind of give you some leniency on the amount of stuff you're able to do projects on, it's always very structured, and they never really teach you how to cope without that structure, because soon as something goes wrong, then you're like, man, they didn't teach me how to do this, or I wasn't prepared for this. So I think that's kind of the one area where we've had a lot of experience is when things go left, now what do you do, and how do you use those problem solving strategies from the real life that you have with your education to make it all come together.
Good, because you guys bring versatility to it. But how do you keep from getting your feelings hurt from people who be watching? What's advice that you have for them? Because I'm sure at times you put your hard work into it, but the group might not be feeling it. So what advice do you have for somebody to not let their feelings get in the way of the music?
Well, we're very harsh with each other, and we don't take it to heart. Like, we can be as honest with each other as we want, and we just take it, soak it in, and keep it moving. Like, it's just the way we work together, I guess, and the way we gotten to work together.
And also, I think you also have to have, there's a level of respect that you have for the people who do what they do around you, because it's like, all right, he's great at what he does, she's great at what she does, and I respect their opinions. So I have to know that when I'm taking an idea to them, they're going to give me, from their standpoint, with everything that they know, all of their knowledge and all their credentials, that they're going to give me the best opinion that they feel from that. So you kind of just have to know it's coming from a place of mutual respect for your art, for your craft, and not from a hurtful place. It's like none of us would ever be like, oh my God, that's garbage, just to say it's garbage because I want to see you cry. If I'm saying it's not that great, then I'm always going to give you a reason why it's not that great, and possibly a suggestion on how you might want to go and make it better.
I think that a lot of times people have yes men and yes women around them, and that's when you make a beat or you write a hook or you come up with a melody and you sing it to somebody who it just may sound cool to, and they're like, oh yeah, that's dope, yeah, that's hot. Co-signers, right? And it's really not. Like, nope, it's not that dope. Like, I know you can do better. So if I make a beat and I bring it to them, and I'm like, what y'all think about this? Or if I write a hook with it and be like, hey, so what y'all think about this? It's been plenty of times where they've been like, I think you could do better. And it does hurt a little bit, but I take that and I go back to the drawing board. So if you believe, you have to believe. Not if. You have to believe in what you're doing, and you have to know that you can always get better. And you keep people around you who encourage you to do better. When they know that you hit that note, but I know that you can hit it better than that. Those are the type of people that you want to keep around you. So I guess the advice would be to surround yourself with people who don't let you remain in an average boat. They push you outside that boat into further greatness. And I really think that that's what we have here, because I know if I take something to them and they don't like it, it makes me be like, well, dang, how can I take this back and present something that they do like? And then when I go back and they're like, you killed that. That feeling makes it all worth it. Even the no, like, nah, that wasn't that hot. You can do something better than that.
And the one thing I've learned is to always keep in the back of your head that you're doing something that's going to be critiqued anyway. Like, we all may individually like what we do, and I may think my song is cold, but you also have to know, like, when you put it out there, everybody's not always going to receive your stuff the way that you are going to receive it. So you just got to be mindful. What you think is dope isn't dope to everybody.
Right.
I had to learn that the hard way.
Okay, so a lot of artists who work from home or are just starting out don't know what they need to bring to the studio. So if you guys are meeting with an artist for the first time today, what would you recommend to them?
We're meeting them for the first time, or we're like having a session with them?
Have a session.
Putting in music.
Yes.
A CD with your instrumentals. I had a guy come to the studio. He had no music. He had no instrumentals. He didn't have anything, and he was like, "Yeah, I got a couple songs that I want to do." How we gonna do them?
Right.
You don't have no beats. You don't
got
have
no nothing.
what? I mean, and it wasn't the type of session where I was there to produce. I was hired as the engineer, so it was like,
This is an acapella album.
okay. I mean, right. And so we had to go through and get like these industry beats for him to rap over, and I was just like, I don't know. So definitely you have to have music, unless it's a session where you're meeting with the producer, they're meeting with us, and we're creating the music. Then that's different.
What's different about that?
The difference is that that's what we're there for, and we have that understanding. So I think that you have to go into it as an artist knowing what you want, know your sound, and if you don't have 100% certainty of what it is,
Bring references.
yeah, and that way we can help create your sound, and that's our jobs as producers. Have ideas.
Bring a good attitude.
Oh yeah.
That will make or break a session.
Uh-huh.
You have to make sure you bring that attitude, that you're just open to new ideas, you have a positivity about you, that at the end of this, you want great music just like we want great music from you.
And it may feel like we're just in the control room right now, and we're just doing an interview, we're just talking to Joyce, but this room is very sensitive. The vibe that's in this room is sensitive, and people who aren't artists or they're just friends, they don't understand that when you step past that door, or you step into the vocal booth, or you step into the live room, there's an atmosphere that is set, and understanding that also helps a session go well. And that's just to piggy off of what Jonathan was saying about having a good attitude, because the moment it gets tense, it just ricochets off of everything, and it could take the whole session south.
So I know being a musician full time, because you guys are all musicians in some way, shape, or form. How do you move past the moment of I want to quit?
That's easy for me. I move past that. I think about my mother and my father, and how I feel as if they deserve to not be working, not be stressed, not be still, you know what I mean, doing things they've been doing for years. Like, it's time out for all of that. So anytime I feel like I want to quit, I think about my father, my mother, I think about my niece, and how I have these dreams and these ideas to help her through college, help her through life, give her things that she's never had. I think about my team and how we've gone through times where we've been hungry together. And I think about the time we've done things that we didn't want to do, but we had to do it. And I think about what our future is going to be. I think about the bigger picture. I see the vision of us being comfortable in life. I'm not saying rich and famous and all that. No. If that comes, that comes. But when I want to quit, it's like God flashes that vision of us just comfortable with no worries, still doing our music, doing what we love, not working a 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, getting paid by somebody, getting, what am I trying to say? Getting checks from anybody else. Like, we're signing our own checks. I mean, but we will take checks from other people. But, I mean, you get what I'm saying. That's what helps me when I'm ready to be like, yeah, this ain't it. I'm reminded of that. I'm definitely reminded of that.
Joy pretty much answered the question for everybody. But just like family, definitely number one, my family, my heart. KTF, the members in this group, you know, Portia, Henny, who's not with us, you know, just when I look at their situations, you know, I want to go even harder for them, you know. For my artists, when I work with a lot of talented artists, and it's like I know their stories, I know their struggles, you know, but I know their talent, and I know what their talent can do for them, you know, so that, and I don't want to punch nobody's time clock but my own. Every time I have to go to work and clock in, that reminds me I don't want to do this. I gotta continue singing. I gotta continue vocal producing. I gotta continue writing. I gotta continue. So that's just me.
On the flip side of that too, there's just the responsibility to your dream. Like whenever it gets too hard and I think I want to quit, I just take it back to when I first thought I wanted to do this, and it was all so easy. And you practice your Grammy speech in the mirror and you write your album credits out, and I just remember being a kid and how excited that was and how I couldn't wait for that moment. And so then sometimes it takes 5 minutes, sometimes it takes 5 days, but eventually you always get back to that point where you wake up in the morning, you're like, I could not see myself doing anything else but what I love to do.
Oh, I'm about to put somebody on blast real quick. One thing that I think about is something that we all experience for the first time, and they about to kill me when I tell y'all this. But because you said Grammys, and we were so blessed to be able to go to the Grammys 2 years ago, and when we were out in California, we all were on the Santa Monica Pier. And, we had a moment. There was a guy there playing the guitar, and Bradley was singing along, and we were all just sitting there looking out at the ocean like, dude, we're here. We went to the Grammys. We did all this stuff this weekend, and
I cried real tears.
He did. He cried like buckets of tears. And it was that moment that made all the drama that we went through, all the problems that we went through, worth it. So at that point, it made everything that we went through worth it. And now that we're 2 years later, it makes everything that we were going to go through worth it, to be able to sit there and be like, you know what? That moment when we're all together, moments like that definitely are like, you know what? I can't stop, because there's bound to be another moment like that. So, yeah.
How do you guys do it? I know me personally, I have no life but my job, but this. So how do you guys deal with that factor of like basically having no life? How do you push through that?
It gets frustrating sometimes. You just like,
when you want to go to the club
and talk about anything else but a song. Please, I just want to watch anything else but a video, but have to worry about the session, just play Uno, watch a movie.
we make each other do that, you know. Sometimes we're like, hey, we're not going to talk about music today. We're not going to talk about nothing on this phone call but our lives, you know. Like, you got to stay grounded and like just do different things. Go out, have fun, take time to live your life, travel. It's not about just work all the time.
Because you don't want to get sick of your job. That's true. Like, in all relationships, you know, they say absence makes the heart grow fonder. And that's true with your job, even. Well, you know, a job like this where you're constantly on your job at all times. It's like sometimes you got to get away so you can miss it a little bit, or so you can get inspired. So when you come back, it's still fresh, it's still new, it's not old. Because nobody wants to do anything that they feel like is old.
For somebody that wants to do what you guys do individually, what advice would you give them?
Stay in school.
Love it. Don't do it for the money. Don't do it for the fame. Do it because you love it.
Yes.
Because the money will come. There will be a lot of times that you'll be doing it for no money, and that's what it takes to get the relationships that you want. To build those relationships, you're gonna have to do a lot of stuff for free at first, but that helps you build your credibility. That'll help you build your credibility and your experience as well. So definitely, you have to love it. You have to be passionate about it. Passionate to not go to the club with your friends. You have to be passionate.
And the same tricks of the trade is definitely there for a reason. Make sure you study your business, this business, if you want to do what we're doing.
So for each of you, what was a single moment where you knew music was what you wanted to do? Joy's excited for her answer.
I think it was, I grew up being obsessed with music credits, and I would read them like people read books. And I remember the one summer, me and Brad started playing around with this program called Audacity, and I thought I was like the next best producer like anybody's ever seen.
I knew I was the next.
And we recorded a song with our friend Daryl, and we were playing it back, and I was like playing with stuff, and we were like, oh my God, this sounds so dope. And I was like, man, yeah, I'm about to do this. I'm about to do this. Yeah, like it was crazy, but I can remember that summer and that song and me being like, yeah, I definitely want to do this.
Yeah, mine is that summer also. And Usher's Confession CD. I think listening to that CD made me want to do music. Like, I can do that. And then, like, music was in my family. So I just knew I was bound to do it some way. Wasn't sure if it was going to be ministry or, you know, just music that I wanted to do. But made a decision. I'm glad I made the right one. Hope I did.
My moment was when
When Missy Elliott came out in a trash bag.
No, not when Missy came on that trash.
She was recorded with her
Super
choir.
duper fun.
Right, thank you. No, but when it came to Missy Elliott, she did this little side glide. She was on stage performing when she first came out. She did this little side glide to the side, yeah, and I was like, and so that's all I did on the carpet downstairs. Yeah, like that's all I was doing. That's it. So no, but. From that point, I'm like, I know she writes, she sings, she produces, she raps, and she does everything. I want to do that. But when I was singing with the MCC Gospel Choir, which was under the direction of Latan and Sherman and Joshua, we had a live recording, and this is before I knew anything about anything that had to do with the technology of music. We had to do overdubs. So we went out to this school called Finger Lakes Community College. They had a recording studio, something like this. And we walked in to do our overdubs, and I walked into the live room. I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool. And then I walked into the control room, and for the first time, I remember there was a Control 24. It was a board. And I looked at that board, and I sat there, and there was a talkback button, and I told the engineer, his name was Malcolm. I said, how can I talk to them in there? And he's like, oh, well, you just push this button. So it's a big old, nice, comfy leather seat. And I sat in that seat, and I hit the talkback button, and I started talking to everybody that was in the live room. And my brother Josh was like, Joy, get your behind in here. I was like, nope, no, this right here, yes, this is what I want. And I tell everyone, literally, like, I've never gotten out of the chair. And that's when I knew that I wanted to be an engineer and producer.